Contrary to popular belief, most people think that the employer has the upper hand on employees, when in fact that's not true.
Family medical leave is a nightmare for all of us here.
With government, federal, state, municipal, local regulations all the time, we would never be able to keep up with that ourselves.
Your employees can be your greatest asset, but also they can be one of your biggest liabilities if you don't deal with them properly.
Employers, believe it or not, are really the underdogs in the employment environment. California is a very, very overregulated state when it comes to the employment laws, labor laws, the employer-employee relationship. Wage and hour in California, wage and hour claims in California are out of control.
32 years ago, in 1980, I teamed up with Jim Potts. I knew with government, including federal, state, municipal, local regulations all the time, we would never be able to keep up with that ourselves. We're trying to run a business. So I knew that we needed help. And it's been a happy relationship for that 32 years. We don't do an appraisal. We don't do a disciplinary action. We don't do a termination. We don't do a leave of absence without checking with Potts and Associates.
Jim and I met each other 20+ years ago, actually. And for the last 14 years, I've been a general manager partner here at Cerritos Nissan. Your employees can be your greatest asset, but also they can be one of your biggest liabilities if you don't deal with them properly. There's a number of things that I look at. There's obviously the recruiting process, there's the selection process, there's an interview process. But what we want to make sure of is, I've always told my employees, hire for character, train for skill. And what I like about Jim is that he brings a very refreshing way of communicating to our employees, to our management team. I have him come in every quarter to talk with my management team, from team building to HR issues to violence in the workplace, how to do a better job interacting with our employees, so that they can do a better job interacting with our customers.
We have over 150 different training programs, and those programs cover everything, A to Z. When I go into a seminar, the first thing I want managers to realize is how serious it's getting in this litigation arena. Some managers have to understand also that they can be held personally liable. They're not just going after the owner of companies anymore. And they have to understand that the courts are looking at them also. The courts recognize that the owner is not the one on a day-by-day basis. It's the managers that are interacting with these individuals, and they're the ones making the mistake. So the education has got to be towards those individuals to make sure that they're doing things the right way.
I was observing one of our general sales managers one day doing an interview, and he said, so you drink during the week? Are you married? You got kids? What do you do with your free time? By the way, how old are you? I just about had a heart attack right where I was standing. So needless to say, after that was done, I said, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, who says? You can't. Well, this is where Jim is great. Jim comes out and he does a seminar, and all these guys have such an eye-opener, like, I didn't know that, I didn't know that, and I didn't know that. So, I just can't say enough about him, and as he's evolved over the years, he's branched out. So if I call him, I can get an answer to almost anything.
Incumbent upon employers to make sure they have good representation. Whoever's advising them need to be very experienced in this area, because first of all, the law is constantly changing in this area.
California is very specific, okay? And we want to always make sure that we're fully compliant from a federal and state compliancy, but what Jim brings is a very refreshing attitude and understanding as to what we're doing here in the state of California within our industry.
About the first of every year, either Jim himself or one of his very capable associates comes out and meets with our management team, explains all the new regulations that have just come out, looks at all the things that we're doing to make sure that we're doing the right thing.
Sometimes we dig ourselves in the hole first, and then we call Jim later, and he loves those. He just loves those. He's like, what? You know better than that. I said, yeah, but I didn't start it. We sound like kids to him, but he's so used to it. He doesn't yell, he doesn't threaten you, he doesn't, okay, let's go back to where we went wrong. Let's see what we can fix. And this is the worst case scenario, this is the best case scenario.
You know, I pride myself on the fact that I've been fighting on behalf of employers for over 32 years. I've got a picture, you know, of me, you know, with boxing gloves, you know, saying fighting on behalf of employers, and that's really adequate. I mean, that is what it is. We do fight on behalf of employers.
I can't imagine this business without Potts and Associates. They're straight shooters. They have never, in 32 years, led us astray. I have never had a question about what they do. It's been a great relationship.
I think the world of Jim. I mean, you know, I've got a great deal of respect for him, admiration for him. I enjoy his company. I enjoy when he comes and he does the training, and I know that my people, you know, they walk away with a little bit better education and better understanding.
Jim and his organization have meant so much to me in 30-some years. I can't even tell you that if I could have a desk here and parking here, I would. Over the years, he has just made my job phenomenally easier.